free. Like you can go, yeah, you can go watch these lectures. Whatever. Wow. Biology.
There's a lot of
It's pretty cool.
Stanford, and a lot of people have free stuff on. I took a couple of Coursera courses, and unless you want to get some kind of certificate, it's basically free.
Yeah.
You know,
What's it called? Take an open structure or open something where they use.
Yeah. Yeah.
the best course I took was the history of rock and roll. It's taught by somebody at Boston College or somewhere. I can't remember where it was. It was 7 or 8 years ago. It was
So
neat.
there's a freshman, well, I say freshman, it's an undergraduate level course at UT that's
Yeah.
got that. And they said it's not for the faint of heart anymore. Because there's a lot of, I mean, they really get into a lot of the, like the influences and it's just all the connections.
Oh, yeah.
And how this and
Oh, this was fascinating, but
he went to A&M mechanical engineering, started working in like the textiles and a lot of that, and then came in Wilson Art, moved back home, bought his family farm from his dad. And then he came to work for me at Harvest. And so he was kind of my lead engineer in the 3D printing manufacturing.
He's a good guy.
For a long time. Yeah, he retired. Yeah, so we sold, he took over, and he was kind of VP of operations for that part until a year ago, and so he retired. His wife worked at BISD, and so she's a teacher, was a teacher at Hurdle Elementary, like second, third grade. I think she like a instructor or something.
instructional facilitator and something like
One of those.
All right.
Good evening. Welcome to this episode of the Belton City Council, coming to Netflix soon. We'll find out. Start off this evening with the Pledge of Allegiance led by me, the Texas Pledge led by Joel Guzman, and then Council Member Dave Covington will lead us in invocation, if you don't mind rising with me. First, the text, yes, flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
Please bow with me. Father, we love you. We thank you for another day that we can serve our community. We thank you for the gift of life that we have through your son, Jesus. We thank you for being so good to us and for us. We ask you to give us wisdom tonight as we consider the business of the city. We just thank you for what a blessing it is to live in Belton. It's in your son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, we will call this meeting Tuesday, January 28th at 5:30-ish to order. Again, thank you guys and gals for being here. As we go through the agenda, the first item is public comments. I do have one public comment but it is for an agenda item, and that person can speak then. If anyone else wishes to address the council on any item, you're welcome to do so at this time. All right, there being no public comments, we'll close public comments and we'll now present a proclamation for Black History Month. I have got somebody. Pastor Russell. All right, let me get the right thing. I'll come down here. This. So anyway, Jeff, a proclamation that we'll give to the pastor in a minute, but I'm just going to read this. If you've ever done proclamations before, it's almost like the Mad Libs that used to. Anyway, but this starts with whereas Black History Month is a time to honor and recognize the significant contributions, achievements, and history of African Americans, both past and present, and where the city of Belton acknowledges the profound impact that Black Americans have had on the growth and development of this nation and their role in shaping cultural, social, economic, and political fabric of our community. And whereas Black History Month serves as an opportunity to reflect on the resilience, courage, and determination of Black individuals who have overcome adversity, and it encourages us to continue working towards an inclusive society that values diversity and equality for all. And whereas Belton's rich cultural heritage includes a growing community of Black residents whose contributions continue to strengthen our city and enrich lives of all who call Belton home. And whereas during Black History Month, we join people across the nation in recognizing and honoring the achievements of Black Americans and reaffirm our dedication to achieving justice, equity, and inclusion for all people, regardless of race or background. Now, therefore, I, David Lee, Mayor of the City of Belton, do hereby proclaim this month, February 2025, as Black History Month in the City of Belton. And witness thereof, I have signed his, and so I'll give this to you. And if you would like to say a word, we'd appreciate that.
Just like to thank the city of Belton for their ongoing support in everything that we do. It all makes a difference. And I'll just ask, can we all just get along?
Amen.
Yes, sir.
I think whoever designed the slide over at Standpipe Park needs to have one here. You know, we kind of integrated it into the hilltop. Maybe we could do it here. So, all right. Next item on the agenda is our consent agenda. These items 6 can be enacted by a single motion. Then the council may pull off any one of these if they wish. First is item 4 is adopting the January 14th, 2025 City Council Workshop meeting minutes, and also approving the January 14th, 2025 City Council regular meeting minutes. Item 5 is appointing the following to boards and commissions, appointing Brandon Skaggs to Planning and Zoning, Kayla Potts and Jim Deacon to the Parks Board. Asterisk to that is we've expanded the Parks Board. We've had a lot of interest there. We've had a lot of activity, so we're expanding our board by 2 members. They will be taking on new spots. Item C is appointing Stephanie O'Banion to our Hill Country Transit District Board. And the last one is Ralph Masters to the Building and Standards Commission. And then finally, item 6 is consider resolutions authorizing the submittal of grant applications to the Office of the Governor, Criminal Justice Division for the following. I'll actually give a little information on this. Flock license plate reader, tactical micro robot system, police drones, and general victim assistant grant, Victims of Crime Act of fiscal year 2026. For those who are interested, the Flock license plate readers are readers that are integrated. So if there is someone that they're looking for, if they pass through our area, it flags. And so people are able to trace as somebody goes from one community to the other. And so being able to pledge these, especially at the intersection of 3514, Highway 317, we get a lot of folks coming through here. So I think this is better. It's not only good for our community, but I think it's good for you. So it's a responsible thing. So I just wanted to put that plug in. So those are items 4 through 6 on the consent agenda.
I move we approve items 4 through 6 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion to approve items 4 through 6 as presented. Any discussion on these items? There being none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All right, it passes unanimously. Item 7 is in planning and zoning is hold a public hearing and consider a zoning change from agriculture to commercial 1 with a specific use permit for an outdoor flea market on approximately 9.71 acres located at 1930 George Wilson Road. Ms. Moore.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. This property is a site for the Bell County flea market. It has been there since 1989. It was annexed into the city in 2006. However, unfortunately, a recent windstorm damaged a couple of the buildings on the this is a non-conforming use because annexed and it was zoned as agricultural. This is the first step in rebuilding that effort is to zone that property to a property that is appropriate for the current use. What's being proposed is commercial 1 DR, with the SUP to allow for an outdoor flea market to occur at this location. The surrounding zonings are mostly commercial across the street. Let me get my pointer out. On George Wilson, commercial 2. At the rear of the property is agricultural and also ETJ land. Below also some commercial property. And to the west is commercial 1 with a CR overlay. Here is the existing site plan. There are several entrances into the flea market, 2 off of George Wilson, 1 off of the frontage road, and on the adjacent property, there's others. With the SUP requirement, we have to look at the compatibility of the use. This is a use that's been there for several years. They have limited hours and only are open on the weekends between 8 and 5. We see any negative impacts in the area since it's adjacent. For the future map, this area is zoned commercial center. Notices were sent out to owners within 200 feet of the property. The city received no letters of support or opposition. With this, the Planning and Zoning Commission heard this item at their meeting on January 21st and recommended approval of the zoning change. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys have. I don't see the applicant in the audience.
All right, this being a public hearing, we will open the floor for any comments for or against this item. If anyone wishes to speak for or against this item. There being no public comments, we will close the hearing and reconvene the council to consider this item. Here would entertain a motion, or if you have any questions.
I move Z 2501.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the zoning change Z 2501. One comment I would say is it's unfortunate that the damage was done. I think normally I would say our standards are probably higher in the city than what the flea market is, but also I don't think it's fair to shut them down just because they had some storm damage. So I think I appreciate the staff working with the owners and the I guess the exhibitors or the tenants to do this. So any other comments? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? It passes unanimously. Item 8 is, and I'm going to go ahead and read it, but we're going to postpone this action. So item 8 is hold a public hearing and consider Kale's retail with an SUP for a package store on 2044 North Main Street at Longhorn Liquor. And this is being postponed. And do we need to we still need
I
action?
move to
Okay.
postpone the item.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to postpone this item to a future council meeting. It says here date, but we'll just post February 25th. All right, so we've got a motion and a second to postpone it till February 25th. Any other comments or questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, passes unanimously. Item 9, hold a public hearing and consider a zoning change from single family to single family 1 with an SUP for an attached dwelling unit with a kitchen. SF1 with SUP for ADU with a kitchen on approximately 3.77 acres located at 811 Lake Road. Ms. Moore.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor. This property is located on the north side of Lake Road. It is just west of the Loop 121 intersection. Here's Lake Road at the bottom, and here's the property on the north side. This is a large piece of tract. Here's where the current home is, and the accessory dwelling unit is located just west of that ADU. As you can see, there is a large front setback from the street. With that, staff review the applicant's request. It meets our minimum standards. That's listed in your staff report, but some of the highlights are the accessory dwelling unit is 44% of the existing homes. The setbacks again have been met. Parking, they're proposing 2 garage spaces. In addition to that, there is a long driveway that services that. So there's plenty of room to park. Actually, here's a floor plan. As you can see, there are 3 bedrooms. The garage in the back and enters into the kitchen, mudroom area, living room, and the bedrooms are in the front part. The exterior will look just like the existing building, but have brick and stone in the front veneer. Notices were sent out to property owners within the property. There was a couple of letters in support. There was one that had questions. Once sat out those questions, he was in favor of the zoning change. Also, the future land use map shows this as a residential area. The Planning and Zoning Commission heard this item at their meeting on the 21st, and they recommended approval of the applicant is in the process of getting a final subdivision plat, so that is one of the conditions that's required for an ADU. The applicant is here. Should you have any questions for him, and I'll be happy to help as well.
All right, this being a public hearing, we will close our deliberations and open the floor. If anyone wishes to speak in favor or against this item, you may do so at this time. All right. No one's speaking against it. I know I think the owners are here and they're welcome to speak and don't have to. So you want to,
Hello, Mr. Mayor. My name is Jason Colbath. I work at the VA. I'm a business owner here. My wife's a pediatrician. We're mostly requesting to build the in-law servicing accessory dwelling unit for my father. Served 24.5 years, retired at Fort Cavazos, 2 tours of Vietnam, Desert Storm. He's been diagnosed with Parkinson's. He's almost 75 years old. So we'd like to be able to get them to move here and live with us so we can take care of them in the last years of life. That's also
awesome. All right, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Anyone else? All right. There being none, we'll close the floor and consider this item. Does anyone on the council wish to mention or have any discussion?
I make a motion, we approve item number 9.
Second.
We have a second to approve item 9 as presented. The 1.5 questions I have is the house looks a little bit larger than most of our accessory dwelling units. Does it meet the standard? I thought that there was a standard like size.
There is. That size is either 800 or less than 60% of the existing home.
Okay.
So the existing home on the property is it's close to 3,500 square feet, and the ADU is 15.
Okay, so that's all right.
That's
and-
44% of the existing.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I knew there was a number. I just didn't remember what it was. The half a question that goes with it is if it were to ever be subdivided as two residences in the future, is the setbacks set for this to be two? Or do we not look at it as just an ADU? I just know that with something like that, it's a unique. It would be a unique property that likely the seller might want to sell as two instead of one. And
It is
so-
unique, but one of our goals is with the accessory dwelling is to keep it together as one property when it's sold instead of subdivided. However, we will look at that, there's some shared, the egress into the property will shared. So we'll look at some of that, and there is enough spacing between the egress and the garage. There's, I believe, at least 20 foot between the properties. With a single family one, there's only a 7 foot side yard separation, so 24 foot, sorry, 14 is what's required between the two properties.
Yeah, that would be the only thing I would ask, just mainly for you guys, is make sure that we don't box them in, that it would be sufficient, you know. If they would have known, if we just moved it 2 feet, we could, or whatever, and so, okay.
And a little out of the ordinary from our normal ADUs, but on over 3 acres.
Yeah.
It sure fits.
Yeah. All right, we have a motion, a second. Any other comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously. That was item 9, thank you. Item 10, they all look kind of the same when you look down.
Yeah, they do.
So, item 10 is hold a public hearing and consider a zoning change from agricultural to single family 1 on approximately 1 acres located at 275 Elmer King Road. Ms. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a requirement that came up. This is a property, the owner is subdividing the property to be able to build a second home for a family member. This is off of Elmer King Road, which is on the east side of Interstate 35. There's an existing home applicant currently lives, and that is where the proposed plat is. Because the lot size does not meet the dimensions for agricultural, staff requested a zoning change to single family 1 to be able to make sure it fits into the zoning requirements that's necessary. The future land use map identified this as a residential area, so this aligns with that requirement. The Planning and Zoning Commission heard this at their meeting on the 21st and recommended approval. Staff concurs with that recommendation. The applicant, Mr. Jones, is here. Should you have any questions for him?
All right. This also including a public hearing, we will open the floor for comments for or against this item. All right. There being no comments, we'll close the floor and Chair would entertain a motion or discussion.
Move item 10 is presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item 10. Any comments before we vote? There being no comment, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Item 11 is hold a public hearing and consider a resolution adopting a proposed amendment to the future land use map on approximately 55.7 acres located at 815 Elm Grove Spur in Capitol Way from a residential land use category to an industrial land use category. And we've got one council member. You can stay here, Craig. You can just Craig Pearson is recusing himself on this item. He has a family member who's still involved with this property, so he will not be discussing or and so just to let you guys know. So all right,
Thank
it
you,
says
sir.
Tina, but you don't look like Tina. So wow.
I have some, that's a very, tall order to fill, but
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you got me again. That's okay. So the item, this item before you is to conduct a public hearing and consider a change to the future land use map from residential to industrial. The area that we're talking about is that outlined in the red circle there. The applicant intends to build, as you probably know, warehouse distribution facility there. The zoning history there begins in 2023 when it was zoned from ag and single family to light industrial, and then last year added a plan development to it, which you see LIPD or PDLI to accommodate for taller buildings. And as part of the zoning process, the applicant asked us to complete the entitlements, as they call it, and change the future land use map to make sure that's in accordance with the zoning, because it's not that way now. So currently, the area on the future land use plan is indicated as residential, as you can see in the red square there. And so we're suggesting that the plan be changed from residential to industrial to meet the zoning category in this area. We took this to the Planning and Zoning Commission. We handled this based as a zoning case. We sent notices, we published in the newspaper. And the Planning and Zoning Commissioners on the 21st held the public hearing, and following the public hearing, forwarded a recommendation to the council to approve the change to the future land use map. So our recommendation exactly the same, and we ask that you consider changing the future land use map in that area from residential to industrial to support the proposed project. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to entertain those.
Also, this one has a public hearing attached to it, so we will close our deliberations open to the floor. If anyone wishes to discuss the proposed amendment to our future land use map, is welcome to come up and have a discussion. All right, there being no comments on that, we'll close the floor and we will entertain a motion for discussion.
Move to approve agenda 11 presented.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the change of the future land use map. And also just for those present, typically future land use map is a planning tool. Not all zoning will always be congruent, but it will be close. Sometimes you'll get a commercial close to residential that we might have thought, but it was a big field. And so in this particular case, even though the zoning has been approved, the zoning preceded this future land use map, and the client wants to make sure that we've checked all the boxes. So again, we're trying not to get the cart before the horse.
And we're in the middle of updating the future land use.
That's
map.
right. And it's like within a week of getting that done. It's just kind of rushing this one to get it done, so we check all the boxes. Any other comments or questions before the vote? All right, all in favor of item number 11, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It passes 5 abstention, 1 absent. Thank you, Craig. You can rejoin. Glad to have you back.
I'm back.
All right. Item 12, consider a final plat for Wells Edition comprising 4.63 acres located at 3766 Smoke Signal Lane in Belton's extraterritorial jurisdiction. Ms. Moore.
Thank you, Mayor. As you can see, this property is close to the Belton Lake. It is north of Lake Road on Smoke Signal. So this is a large tract of property. The owner is hoping to subdivide that into 6 tracts. The owner currently has a resident on lot 6. Sorry, glitch. Try that again. On lot 6. And hopes to subdivide the rest of that to sell the lots. There are half-acre lot sizes. The zoning for this is in the ETJ, so there is no zoning. However, they do require 25-foot front yard setback, and the applicant is meeting that requirement. Utilities in this area is ran by 439 water, and also there is no sewer lines in this area, so that's served by septic or on-site sewage facility. And for the streets, access is provided off of Smoke Signal Road. It's really a local road. Our city subdivision requirements have a 50-foot right of way. The street there is currently 30 to 36 feet of right of way. So therefore, staff asked the applicant to provide a right of way dedication. In addition, the road over there is approximately 14 feet wide of pavement. Our typical standards for local roads is a 31-foot pavement. But this is a rural area, and the street dead ends into the core property. So there's no future expansion of that road beyond this subdivision limits. And the applicant's proposing 6 lots. He's requesting a variance from the requirements for both the right-of-way dedication and the perimeter street improvements. With that, the Planning and Zoning Commission heard this item at their meeting on the 21st. They recommended approval of all associated variances that was requested. To to the rural nature of the area, and also the adjacent road width would not be increased, and they're about the similar size in that area. Upon further consideration and communication with Bell County Engineering and also the applicant's surveyor, who also indicated why there couldn't be a reduction lot 6. There's a septic there and field over there, and there's a 15-foot requirement for the leach system, so that therefore lot 6 cannot be reduced to provide right of way. Isn't agreeable to the planning and zoning recommendations. Mr. Wells is here. Should you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have as well.
Right, this not having a public hearing, any comments, questions, or chair would entertain a motion?
This is the kind of thing we've got a conversation going on with the county about right now. And I want to be clear, I don't have a problem with this plat. This makes sense. The road doesn't go anywhere except right there to these lots, but this is what we're discussing with the county currently about what do we do with stuff like this. And I want to be clear that if we approve this, we're not committing to maintaining the street that's not in the city. And that seems to be a point of confusion for the commissioner's court currently. So I think this is fine, but just speaking to the bigger picture of what's going on, not this particular plat.
Yeah, that's correct. So to that point, I'll take that comment into a question. So could you go back to you have two overhead views. One is more of an engineering drawing that's before this one. So so that one. Where's the road?
It would be between the right of ways.
I can see. Okay, I see smoke signal. So they're not dividing their property. So now go back to the other that shows so that smoke signal road
Correct.
would be serving them. And it's currently a county road.
Correct.
And we're going to add 6 people onto that county road. Has the county engineers, have they seen this? And do they approve of this?
I've sent over a link and they have informed us it's Belton area to review, but I've talked to Malcolm Miller and he said their normal practice is to not require right-of-way or road improvements for county. If they need to expand roads, they usually will purchase right-of-way from the adjacent property owners and do it at that time. So their current practice is not to have that requirement on local roads.
I think that the commission probably disagree with that assessment based on our meeting. So back to what the recommendation is. Because I saw disapproval and approval. So we're recommending
I think
approval.
Staff has changed their.
Staff is changing.
Was published.
Exactly. I didn't want to have anything from your staff report, but what we're recommending is approval for all of the variances, included the parkland dedication. This is county area. We usually don't parkland because there's no parkland that's going to be constructed by there. We're also recommending approval for the right-of-way variance and also for the perimeter street improvements.
Can we pass this contingent upon the county accepting the roads as they are?
As far as I know, they've already accepted it in the previous plat.
I'm just saying, if a lawyer gotten involved and somebody were to rattle a saber about it, can we prove approval?
I called Matt earlier asking about our current interlocal agreement with the county. And so Matt, do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got, trusted attorney next to me, so he can tap me if I say anything wrong here. But we currently have an ILA, an interlocal agreement with the county that is in effect. That was what it was being discussed yesterday, amendments to that or doing away with it entirely. So in this case, this is a county road. We are not suggesting, we are again agreeing with the variances that P&Z have provided. No changes to it. It's a county road, county maintained. It remains county maintained as part of this apportionment agreement. That's how we see it as a staff and how that would go through. Similar to whatever they want to say from other apportionment agreements that we've looked into.
So did they sign anything, the county?
This area is a part of the agreement and it
Yep.
is on the map shown as apportionment assigned to us. So
Yeah,
we're the
but-
final plat authority.
So the reason I'm saying that, if they say it's apportioned to us and we say we want city standards,
Mhm.
but then the county says, oh no, we don't need city standards. Well, who did it get apportioned to? The county or the city? If I've got my city hat on, I think we should do what we should require for rural, for not rural roads, but for city roads.
Mhm.
And that's what they've, in good faith, delegated to us. If through some back channel, they're like, it's fine. I just don't want to hear that, it wasn't fine.
Mhm.
Because what I'm hearing is recommendation from the county, not in a formal way, that the current road is fine. And I agree in dedication, but I think when we talk about right-of-way dedication, because if the county needs to come in and get 30 feet because they decided, okay, we need to start maintaining these roads differently, I just don't want to box them in.
That's one of the advantages of us having subdivision plat authority and right-of-way acquisition authority as a part of the subdivision plat, which seems to be missed by the county folks of that discussion. From a staff standpoint, we certainly agree that right-of-way acquisition would be desirable. It would have some impact on the lots because of they're just barely half acre meeting the septic tank limit right now. And so there are some impacts if you take some right-of-way. Go back to the subdivision plat drawing. So they're just right at the 5,100 of an acre in size. There cannot, what Tina was referring to is there can't be any more secured from the northernmost lot that has the leach fields on it. And so it could have impact in terms of numbers of lots. Certainly the preferable, desirable thing to do would be to secure the right of way. But as has been transmitted to us, their typical practice has been to acquire right of way if they need it to purchase it.
Well, that's because of the law that affects counties. They cannot acquire right of way the same as cities. So it's not just that there's their normal practice. That's what legally they have to do. Where legally we can require something different, which would decrease the number of lots, which would decrease the wear and tear on those roads. Are those roads built to county standards, or is it somebody's that we just named Smoke Signal Road? Do we know?
This area is an older part of Belton. I want to say probably constructed maybe in the 70s. I'm looking at Mr. Wells. 50s. So,
50s.
no, I don't.
Okay. Hi.
My name is Terry Wells. I'm the property owner. I own it along with my wife. This area is a sort of an unusual area. It's all small roads that lead out into this property. And, you know, we're proposing this, but I don't understand what the county would do differently, because they'd have to come in and do everything. The folks at the P&Z went to last month said, we don't want to build a bridge to nowhere. So we do a big road here and have all these small roads feeding to this.
I think the county's concern is that if we approve a road and then they have to start maintaining a road and it's substandard and they have to build a road that we could have potentially required the developer to build, that they would then have issue of our approval of it without them approving, because they want to make sure that the roads are to a standard. And since they've delegated that to us, it creates, at least there's been some issues.
Well,
And
and I'll say too, again, I don't have a problem with this plat and with, honestly, with the road the way it is. Unfortunately, you've kind of walked into a argument that's started that doesn't really involve you directly, and the timing of it is just unfortunate for you because the county and the cities in the county are having some current disagreements about how to handle plats in the ETJ. And so that's kind of what's the reason behind a lot of this discussion is everybody wants to be in charge, but nobody wants to pay for maintenance is what it gets down to.
The county has maintained the road since, let's see, we bought this place about 10 years ago. And after we bought it somewhere along the way, they came in and repaved it again. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's very much a county maintained road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before, now, and absolutely would be as part of our afterwards.
Well, and I think especially since the county is already maintaining the road, it's fine for us to pass this. But I do think that it's also good for us to keep this case in mind in recent history as we go forward with discussions with the county about how these are going to work.
I think that's a good point. The fact that this road can't ever go anywhere else makes it easier to swallow, I think, in this
Yep.
situation.
And it makes sense, but I think making sense is not necessarily the threshold that all of this is going to be judged by. So with, I'll propose that we pass this, approve this plat as presented.
Second.
With the, I want to clarify, with the variances that the developers requested.
We have a motion and a second to approve the final plat with the variances on the right of way and the road width, as this and parkland as discussed. Any other discussion? There being no other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Aye. So I'll be nothing against that. I want to please. And I would recommend that we send this to them and get a formal email or something that says we did right or you should have done something else. Because if we have another one, it's kind of like, kid coming home from school and you hear loud voices, mom and dad talking to each other and not sure what they're walking into. It's not their fault, right? It's county and the city is trying to make sure we're honestly trying to do the right thing. So thank you. All right. That's item number 12. Lucky 13, consider preliminary plat for Saddle Creek Phase 4 comprising 7.591 acres located intersection of West Avenue D and Sagebrush Drive. Ms. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Bear. Have a good evening, y'all. This property is located right across the street from the Belton Middle School. At that intersection where Sagebrush is, this is a anticipated second entrance for the rest of the Saddle Creek folks over there. The property is zoned single family 3. The lot sizes that are being proposed meet that minimum requirement for 5,000 square foot lot sizes. What's being proposed is 20 lots on this 7-acre property. For our plat requirements, again, it meets the requirements for single family 3. Water and sewer will be serviced by the city of Belton, and they will be connecting to the existing infrastructure from the existing subdivision that will span down here. Access will be provided from West Avenue D, from Saddle Creek Drive. There are no requirements for Avenue D. It is fully built out with no perimeter street or right-of-way dedication needed. Saddle Creek and Charlie Cove, which are the 2 local streets in the subdivision, have a 50-foot width requirements, and they will be constructed to a 31-foot pavement as required. Drainage has been for the site. The plan is to have the drainage go to the adjacent creek in the back, and staff has looked at that and thinks that is acceptable. With that, the Planning and Zoning Commission heard this at their meeting on the 21st and recommended approval of this. And I will be happy to answer any questions that you guys have for this one.
Any comments, questions, or chair would entertain a motion?
So staff recommend the developer declined another entrance onto Avenue D. Is that correct?
No, sir. There was a request for the culvert to be expanded, possibly a connection, but I believe our goal was to get this culvert extended out a little bit to change that configuration of lot 9 to make it look a little typical, to move that down a little bit, and the applicant declined that portion of it. We didn't ask for one because there's only 20 lots required. Our standard is 1 access for 20 lots, but a problem was the existing subdivision plat. It only had 1 entrance for the rest of Saddle Creek. So this will fulfill a nation to provide a second entrance for that
Okay,
previous subdivision plat.
thank you for.
We're satisfied the accesses are adequate. The lot 9 is an unusual operation, as you can see, it's so deep. Obviously raises some maintenance questions and concerns. It's gonna be a lot of property to mow. We had suggested perhaps bringing the cul-de-sac down a little bit farther to reduce the size of the lot and maybe expand on some. But developer chose not to do that and, kind of a market situation. We'll hopefully find somebody to acquire that lot and build a home on.
Thank you, Shane. Move we approve agenda item number 13.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the preliminary plat for Saddle Creek Phase 4. Any other comments? All in favor, say aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. All right, item 14. Consider a certificate of appropriate and facade improvement grant application for exterior renovations to the structure at 206 East Central Avenue located at downtown Belton Commercial Historic District between South Penelope Street and North East Street.
Thank you again. As you can see from the map, this is a contributing, goodness gracious, got to put this back on, contributing property in the district. So therefore, this went through the commission, and you might remember once upon a time, we had a little bit of heartburn with a previous owner that had submitted in an application for they had proposed something completely different from what's being presented. Proposal aligns more with our requirements. They're putting in some of the contributing elements of this building. They've incorporated into the new design for the building. So with that, the applicant is proposing to demo the existing facade. They're going to reconstruct it. And again, I am going to show what is being proposed. As you can see up at the top, they're doing the parapet that is currently there. They're also doing that design work in the brick that's currently there. The 2 columns are existing, but they're just making most of it more noticeable. They're enhancing that feature in what they're proposing to do. As far as the windows, storefronts usually change over time, but they're putting in some of the historic elements, the arc windows and door that meets with our alignment. For the work, it's estimated at around 44,000. The matching grant amount with our new standard would be around 22,350. Here's a mood board to show more of what is being proposed. Again, bricks is already there. Wood that looks natural and definitely contributing. Doorknobs and light fixtures are what's being proposed. The Historic Preservation Commission recommended approval of the design and also the facade improvement grant for this property. Staff concurs with that recommendation. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
Any questions? Comments?
Adding to see Tavern 206 up there. Appreciate your patience. We know to approve item number 14 is presented. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the certificate of appropriateness and facade improvement grant. Any other comments or questions?
It's gonna be really nice. Those doors add a nice touch to them. So great project.
Yeah, I'll echo that. I think it's in keeping with the historic downtown and making that little row of stores really something else. So maybe one of these days we'll get these lights over the whole area. Who knows? All right. Any other comments or questions? All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Item 15, I will be recusing myself. I think Dave Covington also will be recusing. We have an interest in this property, so we will not be commenting. So,
well, I'll take that over from you, Mayor. Certificate of appropriateness, COA, for facade improvement grant applications for exterior renovations to the structure at 120 Penelope Street, located in downtown Belton Commercial Historic District between East First Avenue and East Central.
Mr. Mayor Pro Temp, I am going to present this item and the following item as they relate as one. If you want to go ahead and read that one as well, please.
Sure. Consider a certificate of appropriateness for facade improvement grant application for exterior renovations to structure at 122 North Penelope Street, located in the downtown Belton Commercial Historic District between East First Avenue and East Central Avenue.
Thank you so much. As you can see on the map, this is a non-contributing property in the Belton Historic District for both of this. This was previously owned by the Bell County offices. They recently sold that for private development, so yay for that. This building was built back in 1970s. And the applicant, this is what they're proposing. This is the current view of it, and this is the renovated view of it. So they're proposing to replace the doors, the storefront doors, the trims and awnings. They're gonna use a similar size as what's existing there for the doors. There will be one new window that's gonna be installed, and I believe that is right here. As you can see, there isn't one there, and they're proposing a new one with the awning on top of that. With that, they're also gonna repair the stucco on the building. There are some damages that's gonna be done, and there's gonna be a new fresh paint applied after that repair. They're also installing new light fixtures to add a little bit of enhancement, and I like the landscape features. With that, what is proposed for the facade improvement grant, the estimated work for 120 over 70,000, and the matching grants for that will be 35. This has two storefronts, one off of Penelope and the other is an alley that is visible from the public. So they get 25,000 for the first facade and 10,000 for a secondary facade per our recent changes to the grant application. For 122, it is estimated at 84, a little over 84. The matching grant amount for that will be also 35,000. With that, the planning and zone, I'm sorry. The Historic Preservation Commission heard this item at their meeting on the 2nd of January and recommended approval, the certificate of appropriateness and also the facade improvement grants. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have, and the applicant is here. Should you have any questions for Mr. Bozon? Thank you.
We're gonna leave them out of it.
A lot of questions.
Question for discussion, and I think, do we have to take these items separately, correct, for approval?
Correct.
Item number 15.
No, I'm excited. Looks good. Weird use of the AI, but I like it. I'll make a motion to approve item 15 as presented.
There, have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll move on to item number 16. Any discussion, or I'll take a motion to
Can't
approve?
believe that was built in 1970. It doesn't seem like that long ago.
I'll make a motion to approve item as presented as well.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Will said, just make a quick comment with all this activity, we really need to start thinking about additional parking. Belton is growing, the activity downtown is increasing. I think I was down there on a Tuesday evening to grab a pizza and there was nowhere to park anywhere around in downtown Belton. I was absolutely floored. What a good problem. Thank you. Dave, come on back and finish this off. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you. And Strong Towns has got a podcast and some things, and they say a parking problem and when you have a lot of parking spaces and no cars in them, that's a parking problem. When you're full up, that's not a problem. That's what it be. So, but I agree with you. I think it's, again, we continue to see investment downtown. I think that's great. I'm glad that we're able to partner with community and with the business owners. And I also want to thank you as a recipient of that you're partnering with us as we take a little risk to brighten the area and hopefully get some good tenants downtown.
And we appreciate the county vacating.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, Wayne. Wayne was instrumental in having that discussion to see if there's some things that we could do in the downtown area. So again, thank you, Wayne. That's one of those legacies that most people will not realize that they're experiencing, but that's something.
Appreciate the judge and the commissioner's court for taking our suggestions seriously.
Yeah. All right. Item 17, consider a mural grant application for the property at 106 North Main Street located at in downtown Belton Commercial Historic District between West Central Avenue and East First Avenue. I think this is the first mural grant. Is this correct? Okay.
That is correct.
There's more. Hey, the inaugural.
Coffin Blair
Oh,
Potts
Coffin
came
Blair Potts. Oh, that
right at
was.
the beginning of this, before we
Okay.
actually had the stand.
But that was like a facade easement plus mural, right? Or maybe it's.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay, it's number 2. The first one
It's
I
the
remember.
First one I presented. All right, with this is located right off of North Main Street. The back of the buildings, that front North Mains have an alley that is accessible to the public. So they're proposing to do a mural on this. As you can see, that elevated air conditioning unit, the applicant is looking at getting that removed, closer to the ground. He is getting an estimate for that. Here is the proposed artwork. This is for Bison Realty. And they've decided to do Indian and bison for this location. It meets with our requirements. We thought of this as historic. Native Americans, first ones to roam the land, and bison was very important to their way of life. With that, we think that it meets all of the requirements. Lace and Found is going to be the artist on this project. They did the library edition and also the beautiful salon, which is right adjacent to this building. So they had a lot of previous works on their Instagram page that I could cruise through to see their quality. With that, the Historic Preservation Commission, they reviewed this, even though this is a previously painted facade. There was also a facade improvement grant that they were looking at, so we just kind of consolidated this. And they're aware of what is being proposed, and that is fine. The applicant estimates the work at 15,000 and disqualified maximum grant amount of 7,500. As part of that, there is also a 5-year maintenance of 2,500, which is $500 per year for the 5 years, if the applicant requests that maintenance. With that, staff is recommending approval of the grants at 106 North Main Street. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Anything else being done to relocate the trash cans or clean some of that stuff up that's in the alley?
I apologize. I don't know the answer to that. At one point, we were looking at maybe a dumpster enclosure so we could get rid of all of that and to consolidate it. But the funding and I'm not quite sure where that project has gone. And I keep looking at Judy because I'm hoping for some help.
Other thing, I was just curious, any lighting back there currently?
Not a lot, just from the parking lot. There is a proposed change that one of the tenants is looking at, the bridal shop. They own a couple of different properties over there, and they plan on remodeling some of the spaces, and their actual access will be from that alley. So with that, I'm sure that they're proposing to put in some light fixtures with that project. So there'll be a little bit more of additional lights in that area.
The comments I had received a few months ago was really hoping to have that alley almost a walkway or, you know, use path.
Correct.
Treat it like a mini park or something.
To Main Street with the parking behind those buildings. And so any lighting or relocating the trash can, that sure would help that and make that a lot nicer in that area.
We had talked to them about relocating the trash cans over, even had worked with the county to put it on the county parking lot across the street. And we couldn't get everybody on board because some people said it was dangerous for them to walk across the street and take out their trash after dark because there's people around there and they were afraid to do that and didn't want their employees doing that. So we could get everybody on the same page. They are all in agreement that they want that as a pedestrian alley. And so it's just a matter of working out those finer details and everybody getting on the same page. But I think we will all eventually get there at one point. It's just we haven't all decided on an agreement on one item yet.
Yeah, I'll jump on that. I think what we need to do in the historic downtown area, we have the same issue on those, all of those that that 1 or 2 dumpsters would really prevent a lot of confusion and work and open up spaces. Cause you just look at the development there at the Katy Depot, you've got, the sum of the number of of trash cans is greater than a very large dumpster.
Mm-hmm.
And if you totaled up the number of dollars each one of them is paying for each one of those cans, probably those is greater than the a dumpster. So we need to, instead of getting everybody to agree, we may need to by ordinance that up and then a portion based on that, because we're collecting the money anyway. We may just want to consider anyway. So I would suggest based on these comments that maybe we have either staff does a little homework or we could do a workshop. But I think it's worth at least considering because no one will be the first one. I think we'll just have to look at you know, what can we do?
And it makes it a lot safer for pedestrians and.
It's cleaner,
cleans all
it's,
that up.
yeah,
And I really am concerned about anything we can help with or suggest any type of lighting. There's one other area that's a little tricky, and behind the Gunter building, there's a little bitty walkway going over
Oh, yeah,
to the
like-
depot.
yeah,
Mhm.
1.5
That-
feet,
That's
yeah.
dark as can be as well. So as we
Yeah.
think about these developments and revitalizing downtown, any additional light we can add anywhere sure would benefit some of those areas.
All right, the picture, do you mind just putting the picture, because I got at least
Sure.
one parting shot. Based on where those trash cans are, I think it's just right on the to that buffalo, you'll have a trash can so you can take care of whatever it is. So anyway, just saying. All right, did we get I don't think we got a motion to approve.
I move to approve item number 17.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second to approve item 17. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, item 17 passes. Looking forward to the bison. All right, 18, hold a public hearing and consider an ordinance annexing 1.764 acres tract of land located at Young Williams Survey, abstract number 861, Bell County, Texas. Said 1.764 acre tract being a portion of that certain 558.328 acre tract of land recorded in document number 2017-367, official public records, Bell County, Texas. Mr. Bob.
I didn't do that on purpose. It's just the way it's written. So thank you for.
Well, I didn't do it on purpose either, and I didn't understand any of it, so.
All right. So,
Especially that's certain, that's the best part.
yeah, exactly. So the purpose of this item is to conduct a public hearing and consider an ordinance annexing 1.764 acres into the city. This property is part of the boundary adjustment agreement with the city of Belton, Salado and Seltz LLC that y'all approved back in December. So a couple of pictures for y'all to look at. Just very quickly, this area right here is the area that we're. Okay, you can see that. I think it says Belton ETJ. It's got a black square around it. This basically shows the arrangement of all the properties that were swapped. And the ETJ area is the area that is subject to the voluntary annexation at this particular point in time. The other two areas, as you know, were automatically exchanged between Belton and Salado, bless you, when the agreement was filed. And so this picture basically will show or does show the property, the city limits after the annexation is complete. So our recommendation at this point is to conduct the public hearing, and if you all agree, to go ahead and approve the ordinance annexing the area in our ETJ. Oh, and by the way, I want to make sure that it's on the record that this is a voluntary action request.
All right, being said, we will open the public hearing for a voluntary annexation request of the 1.764 acres as presented. Anyone wish to say anything about this?
The only comment I would add is that the city of Belton will have no maintenance responsibility for Salado Center Drive. That was part of the agreement by the Salado alderman as a part of the negotiations.
Okay, so they will take
to resolve
over.
this
So it'll be back of curb. It will be city.
Right.
Okay. So we'll provide ambulance, we'll provide road maintenance. All right.
Excuse me, one other comment. The applicant had requested that these current alcoholic beverage conditions would apply to this property without a future election. And Amy has confirmed that that's certainly something we can do.
You
as a
can
part
do
of-
that without having to do,
Without an election. And so
but that would have
we
to
have
be part of the
included that
motion.
in the annexation ordinance,
Okay.
adopting this property. So this is just a little, very, very small piece of property, but we just wanted to make sure that the council is aware of that as well as a
Okay.
part of the annexation.
And that's written in the ordinance. That's
It is written in the ordinance that way. Okay. I heard it's urgent care, so I guess it's for the waiting room. Yeah, no, I agree.
Oh,
Yeah.
come on, Amy. Be a sport.
The question I have is, any disannexation that goes with that, or was that already done? Or, because we were kind of doing the swap.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, there was no.
So right now, it's just annexing a piece of
Right.
property that was not ours.
By agreement, a couple of pieces went to the two cities. There we go.
Yeah.
The red and the green was Salado city limits that came to us, a little sliver. The red was Belton city limits that went to Salado, and the blue is the area that we're proposing to annex at the
Gotcha.
request.
So those have already been done by a different agreement.
Right.
And so this is just
By the
cleaning
original
up that
Yeah.
jigsaw puzzle. All right. Chair would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
We have a second to approve the voluntary annexation as written. Any other? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Thank you.
Passes unanimously. All right, getting towards the end. Item 19, hold a public hearing and consider an ordinance amending chapter 22, traffic section 22-106, traffic schedules and speed limit regulations, relocating the existing school zone on the south side of Loop 121 at the flyover on Crusader Way to the north side of Loop 121, closer to Sparta Road. All right, Mr. Scott.
A lot of wording. The council appreciate the opportunity to give you this, ordinance proposed change here. To get a little information here, this old picture, sorry for the photo, but prior to 2013, they had the school zone on the north side of Crusader Way on Loop 121, so close to Sparta Road here. And they changed that due to there being a single lane going that direction and traffic coming over the flyover and having to stop quickly because of the that was there going northbound. Right now, the current location is on the southbound side of Crusader Way, right here. And the proposed new location is back to its original state. So in between Crusader Way and Sparta Road. TxDOT had proposed this, being that now they are going into the 2 lanes in that direction, along with a left turn lane and a right turn lane. And staff reviewed it internally, also got with PD, talked with the school district and UMHB, and everybody was in approval of this and feels comfortable with the safety factor involved. So going to that 2 lane, and also the school, it kind of helps minimize the school zone. Right now, having it where it was, you'd go over the bridge heading southbound until you would get out of the school zone, being that it was on that side. So this minimizes it and kind of keeps traffic a little more focused now. This is just a little plan sheet from TxDOT showing that this is northbound in this direction here, showing the 2 lanes that'll be going northbound along with the right turn lane and the left turn lane, and increasing it in the next, hopefully, month or so. They'll be opening that up. So we recommend that the council holds the public hearing and adopts the ordinance for the school zone change. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
All right. This being a public hearing, we will close deliberations, open the floor for any comments on the change in the traffic schedules and speed limit regulations. There being no comments from the public, we will close the floor and reconvene to discuss this item. Chair would entertain a motion or discussion or questions.
We approve item 19 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions?
I was gonna make, not that I'm opposed to moving it, not a traffic expert, not a safety patrol officer either, but many people will see the end of a zone, start speeding up before, and as wide as that road will be now, just my only concern would be how that intersection, a lot of foot traffic across it. Just that's only my only comment. So
Yeah, what I've heard is that it's so far away that with our attention span that as Americans, once we cross the bridge, we forgot that we were in a school zone. So this way you cross the bridge and you see there's a school zone right before you've got the students crossing. It's like, oh, that's why they're there. The question is, it says south side
Yes.
of the loop.
That's the current location now. And they're to the north side.
Of the, okay, I got you.
Flyover of Crusader Way.
The way it reads is south side of Loop 121, when Loop 121 runs north and south, and it's to the east or the west side. And it's the north side of the flyover on Loop 121. I'm just saying that the way it's worded is south side of a north-south road.
Gotcha.
Do we need, is the ordinance proper? Does it need to be proper?
Clarify the caption, which would.
I would make, well, no, I won't. If somebody would make an amendment to the current motion to clarify, that way we can make sure.
South side of Crusader Way. At the
North of the flyover, 121 Crusader Way. Right?
Just say,
I'll make a motion
To
to
amend.
amend the motion that this school zone is gonna start north of the flyover on 121 that goes over the railroad tracks. That's part of the road.
all right, we have a motion to amend the motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to amend the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion, second.
Second.
And I was second twice.
Yeah, second. We all said aye. Which brings us from the amendment back to the motion. All right, now.
Which is now amended.
Now amended. Now that we've amended it and made sure that we're on the right side of the road. Why did the chicken cross the south side of a northbound highway? I don't know. Anyway, so,
Vote again.
yeah, we'll vote again. All in favor of the amended motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously.
Mayor,
Thank you.
one thought about this. I've noticed more and more cities using painting on the roadway itself to warn people of what's coming ahead very soon.
Yep.
This might be an appropriate location to look at something like that.
I think,
We will
we
share. it.
definitely have had, our share of pedestrian, taps in this area, so I think we should probably keep that under advisement.
Absolutely.
Good point. All right, number 20. Hold a public hearing and consider an amendment to the fee schedule by adding fees for the use of electric vehicle chargers provided by the city of Belton. Mr. Bates.
I'll spare you the council, the PowerPoint, Mayor Council, but
Come on.
I know John's bitterly disappointed in that. We have an EV charger that's set up in City Hall parking lot. Y'all have seen that. And locating your staff a picture of that. We restriped, looks really good. Scott and his crew. We also have another one that's going to be going to the library imminently. I think we're just waiting on Encore to set that date where they'll set the pole. So we're ready to go. We're ready to fire them up. We've got it all figured out. Mike's got our bank information. Chris has got our internet ready to go. And so we said, go ahead, light it up. And we're like, what are we going to charge? And then we did some research. I would say that we initially proposed to y'all years ago, but this was a Gene Ellis handoff through this project, but we were charging $1 a kilowatt is what we were proposing. We did some research. That's wild high. That's very, the Tesla superchargers at Buc-ee's and stuff are about 33 cents a kilowatt. Nolanville has some for 25. Me and Mike pulled about a dozen different pricing. Looks like 19 to 20 cents is about what would be considered a low charge. That far exceeds our base rate that we pay with our electric provider, plus the nominal fee that the company who is actually doing it will take before processing it to us. So we're going to suggest 20 cents a kilowatt, and we'll get y'all approval, and we will get this thing lit up and ready to go. So thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you for the lack of PowerPoint. Since this is a public hearing, we will close our deliberations and open the public hearing. If anyone wants to charge forward to talk about the charge on the charge. No one charging forward to talk about the charge on the charge. We will close the public hearing and reconvene the council. And I will entertain a motion.
Move we approve the rate schedule for the EV charging station.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the EV charging rate schedule. Any other comments? I'm gonna park my big diesel right in one of them parking spots. Just kidding.
And this is a result of some information and funding that we got through Don Ringler. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, Don Ringler got a grant, and so we've already told Don and Donnie that we'll make sure that when we do fire it up, they're going to be aware, and we'll do a little ribbon cutting or a picture or something like that. So
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure they got credit for some of that. So
We'll give them a coupon for a free kilowatt hour. They can have the first charge. Yeah.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes unanimously. That concludes the agenda as published. We do have an executive session. We will take a little pause for the cause and then reconvene, but I'll go ahead and read this as you guys are gathering your stuff. I'm just doing it for the record for Amy. that we are going to convene this executive session pursuant to the provision of the Open Meetings Law, Chapter 551, Government Code, Vernon's Texas Codes annotated in accordance with the authority contained in Section 551.07, deliberation regarding real property. All right, we'll be back in here in just a few minutes. So anyone needs to